What's going on, guys? We are back once again, and we are going to be talking about the Santa Claus 2, which I thought I did a review on, and actually I didn't. This movie came out in 2002, and what's really interesting is I actually remember watching this when I went to go see this in theaters when it first came out. And I remember I wanted to see it so bad. I want to say I was still before my preteens, I want to say. And I remember just seeing it because I love the Santa Claus series so much. The first one was probably one of my favorite Christmas movies or even movies of all time. You know, I'm a big Tim Allen fan. But the entirety of the film is obviously, Tim Allen returns, Scott Calvin, Santa Claus. He's enjoying being Santa Claus, but then he starts noticing some things is going wrong with him, and things are going wrong with the North Pole, and he starts noticing he's not as, I would say, like himself, and he starts de-aging as Santa. And what happens is he gets found out from Bernard and among the other elves that it is something in his contract that he had, that as soon as he put the Santa Claus suit on, that now he has to find a wife. And what happens is, now that he's been Santa for however many years, he goes to Earth, I guess you would say, and he reunites with Charlie. Charlie is now grown up. We have the same actor playing as Charlie. We even see that his ex married the one that she was with. They have a daughter, and they're actually all on better terms, so they try to help him be able to find love, because he wants to be able to still become Santa, but at the same time it's like, okay, what do we do? Like, how do I still become Santa, or how do I, basically, how do I still become Santa and still be able to do everything that I want to do? Now, what's really cool is he goes on all these dates, and there's some things in here that's really crazy. So they have to find a way to not only keep the elves under control, but also keep everybody else to be like, okay, Santa's still here, and we have to keep everything under control. Now, what we see is this is where Carol gets first introduced, and she's actually Charlie's teacher, or no, principal. And she has a very hard time with him because Charlie's on the naughty list. He's acting out because his dad's Santa Claus. He can't tell nobody about it, and he doesn't know what to do. And then when Scott starts taking interest in Carol, and he starts performing different magic, because there's only so much magic he can do until his magic runs out. And then we even see how Charlie finds out about them two being together, and it upsets him. So he's like, okay, what do I do? And that messes up Scott's relationship with his son. But at the same time, he's falling for Carol because there's so much about her that he's starting to know and really develop a relationship with. And we even see where the ones in the North Pole create a Robo Santa that they try to make into like Scott, but unfortunately he takes over the North Pole, and then Scott has no choice but to try to go back to the North Pole. And then that's when everyone thinks, obviously Carol thinks he's going nuts, and Charlie tries to help out as well. But then finally it's up to Charlie to even tell Carol, look, my dad's not lying, he is Santa Claus. And when she finally realizes that he's not lying, it's up to Scott, Charlie, Bernard, and even Carol to defend the North Pole from these toy soldiers and the new Santa that's trying to take over, because the Robo Santa thinks that every child is bad, and now it's up to Scott and everybody else to stop him. Now, that's pretty much the entirety of the film. At the very end of the film, we do see where Scott does regain his powers, his abilities to become Santa once again, and he does marry Carol, and he continues not only finding out about his son, but also developing a better relationship with his son, because his son did have an issue with his dad being Santa Claus because he couldn't tell nobody. And what I found really cool, and there are some sweet moments in this film, I think there was a cool moment where Charlie tells his sister about how she calls him Uncle Scott, that he is Santa Claus. And that was really cool. And then when he's trying to get back to North Pole, he brings Comet with him, but Comet got so fat over the all of the candy because he asked him, he's like, Comet, he says, did you eat all this? And he just starts like speaking in reindeer. He's like, da, 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 da. He says, who ate it then? He goes, a squirrel. And he says, you shouldn't eat that much sugar, it's bad for you. The next thing you know, he just like farts. It's just absolutely hilarious. It's a very friendly movie, very family friendly movie. I personally love it. It's a good film. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's as good as the first film. I think the first film will always be very near and dear to my heart. The second one is still a good film. There's a lot of comedy. It's a very family oriented film. And I think that's one of those where if you want to watch a good film around the holidays, especially if you celebrate Christmas, then definitely check out the Santa Claus 2. If you don't celebrate Christmas, that's perfectly fine as well. But either way, definitely check out the Santa Claus 2. You can definitely watch it on Disney Plus. You can either own the DVD as well if you want. You can probably watch it on Freeform or any other network that comes on at some point. But either way, guys, let me know what your thoughts are about Santa Claus 2 down in the comments down below. If you guys are new channel, so about subscribing. Leave a big fat like on the video if you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you as always on the next one.